students, welcome to class. Well, I listened to you. You told me to watch this channel. You sent me the link. I opened it up and I watched it just like you asked me to. Look, the title, for those of you who don't know yet, is called Is Meat Really That Bad? And this channel is called Kurgesagt. It's called In a Nutshell, and they do a lot of science-based articles, and although there's cartoons, there's some very serious facts in here. And so the answer to the question, is meat really that bad, is yes. Meat really is that bad. Now we're going to watch a little bit of this, not the whole thing, because, you know, I just wanted to give you the main points so that the video isn't too long and so that you don't lose too much interest. But I wrote them down here beside me. So try to memorize a few of these facts. You know, if you memorize a few facts about the environment and about the animals, you're going to be able to be a better teacher to your parents, your teachers, family, anyone in your life. Let's look.
While the idea of cows turning useless grass into steak is nice, it is part of a marketing lie. Even though it is so massive, pasture land alone can't support the ruminants living on it. Globally, grazing systems sustain only 13% of beef production. So if we were to switch to 100% grass-fed, we'd simply have to eat much less beef. In the US, beef production would crash by some 70% if it were to exclusively rely on grass.
That's a lot.
The only way to sustain our high demand for meat is by growing crops and feeding them to our cattle.
And that's cruel, because look, they have to be in confined conditions, holocaust-like conditions, where they are raped, forced to be pregnant against their will, and then their babies are taken away from them. And in the dairy industry especially, it's awful because they murder the baby boys because they'll never be able to give milk. And this isn't even to talk about the chickens and the baby chicks who are ground up at birth if they are babies because they'll never be able to lay eggs. The whole industry is terrible. This is why we must have a vegan world. And this is what I like about this video, about these scientists, because they are telling you the truth. Being vegan is best for everyone, for the animals, for the planet, and of course, for human health.
And we haven't even talked about chicken and pigs, which exclusively eat feed crops. Because of this feed demand, less than half of the world's cereals are used directly as human food. 41% is fed to animals. The same is true for soy. There's a lot of talk about Amazon deforestation for soy production, which makes us think of soy milk and tofu. But only 19% of global soy production goes towards products for humans. About 77% is used to feed animals.
Okay, I wrote this down for you guys so you can memorize it. Look, only 19% of global soy production goes towards products for humans. About 77% is used to feed animals. This is highly inefficient. We are better off to not create these animals in the first place, like cows and chickens and pigs and turkeys. I mean, there were some in the wild before, and that is completely different than us raping them, forcing them to exist just for us to be able to use them. It's better for us to use all of that land and just grow crops on there and feed it ourselves, to ourselves. It's much more effective and it's much kinder to the animals. Let's keep watching.
Besides, land without food crops isn't automatically ecologically useless.
Exactly.
A beef-free diet would free up around 2 billion hectares. A vegan diet would free up around 3 billion hectares.
Do you see that? Just taking away beef helps, but still, people are still eating other animals. A vegan diet is the best thing. Look, I wrote it out here. A vegan diet would free up around 3 billion hectares of land. We could use this land to grow forests and restore wild grasslands. This could suck carbon out of the atmosphere, which would be the best for future generations. Don't you want your children and your grandchildren to have a livable planet where the animals are not suffering, where the oceans are clean and the air is breathable? I do. Let's keep watching.
Pairs of land. We could use this land to grow forests or restore wild grasslands. Basically anything that could suck carbon out of the atmosphere. If we spared 3 billion hectares of land, it could remove about 800 billion tons of CO2 from the air over 100 years.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Who cares about 100 years from now, right? I care. Imagine if the people 100 years ago cared about us. Let's say it was the reverse, and we could have been spared all of this pollution Wouldn't you have wanted them to do something about it? Look, the bottom line is that we need to start to care about the environment and future generations because it's just the right thing to do. We only are here for a short time. We borrow this planet from future generations. We don't own it. So look, if everyone became vegan, it could remove 800 billion tons of CO2 from the air in over 100 years. Let's think about future generations and begin protecting the environment today. Today. You and me, with what we put on our plate. When you're shopping, only put veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds in your shopping cart. Peace begins on your plate. So open up your heart to the future generations, to the animals, to the environment. It's win, win, win. Everybody wins when we become vegan. Look, just picture it. Imagine if there were laws that said that all stores could only sell vegan foods. And you go in there and it's still loaded, looks the same, except for wherever there's the dead animals, there are vegan products like more tofu choices and more vegan meats. But you'd still have all of the beans, all the veggies, all of the fruits, so many things. And even more things would enter into the supermarkets because people would start to be curious and we would start to have other fruits and veggies that we don't usually eat that are out there in the world waiting to come into our supermarkets. But because people buy always the same stuff, we don't usually have that much choice. So picture how great it would be. You know, you come home, you have a whole bunch of different vegan things in your cart, and then you start Googling, okay, vegan recipes. Okay, you're like, okay, what's this? I have a leek, and I have a kale, and I've got some vegan meat, I've got some onions. Okay, what do I do? And you just go and make delicious vegan foods. Lentils are something that you should be eating all the time. Chickpeas, beans, rice. You know, there's such things as vegan pizza and vegan lasagna. There's vegan tacos. There's vegan burritos. There are so many choices, so many reasons to be vegan. Let's keep watching.
By comparison, we emit about 50 billion tons of CO2 equivalents per year at the moment. Okay, to summarize, food is a huge driver of emissions.
And?
Meat is the worst food in terms of emissions. Buying locally does not have a big impact on food emissions compared to the type of food you're consuming.
Isn't that interesting? Look, a lot of people think, well, I'll just buy locally and that'll be good. But that is not what the science tells us. Here is the fact. Buying locally does not have a big impact on food emissions compared to the type of food you're consuming. Go vegan. Buy vegan foods. That is the best solution for the environment.
When it comes to beef, cattle that are grass-fed can sometimes even be counterproductive because they just need much more land. Even if you find the most environmentally friendly beef in the world, your burger still comes with a significantly higher carbon footprint than a veggie patty. You can decide for yourself what you want to do with this information.
Okay, this is the part of the video that I don't like, where they say, you can decide for yourself what you want to do with this information. Now, I know it's a fact. You can. But what I think they should have done is they should have emphasized the moral responsibility for people watching. You should decide to be vegan. That should have been their final conclusion. You should not be selfish. You should think about others. You should protect the environment. Look, we have a society that forces us, at least here in Canada, I think in the US as well, in many places around the world, to wear a seatbelt. You go in the car, you have to wear a seatbelt, or you can get a ticket. So if we can force people to wear seatbelts, why can't we force schools to have vegan foods only under their roof? Why can't we force hospitals to have vegan foods only under their roof? To not bring dead body parts into the doors, through the doors, and shove them into kids' mouths or patients' mouths. There should be no choice when it comes to that. Vegan foods only, healthy vegan foods. All doctors should have to pass tests so that they understand veganism. They need much more training in nutrition. They don't have it. And that's why your doctor right now probably tells you, oh, go ahead and eat meat. Because your doctor doesn't know better. You know what doctors used to recommend in the olden days? They used to recommend that you smoke cigarettes. They thought it was good for you. And the doctors who were last to say stop it, even though the science was all out that it was caused cancer and things like that, were the ones who were smoking themselves. The overweight smoking doctors were like, it's fine. You know, doctors are human. They're flawed. What you need to do is listen to the science and be tough. Be brave enough to be vegan. Be brave enough to stand up to the rest of society and tell them to fuck off if they're hurting animals. Stop hurting animals. Stop being selfish. Think of the future generations and protect this planet, and subscribe to this channel press the notification bell, and help me get the animals out of hell. Do you see the bell? Do you see the subscribe button? Press it. Come and join me when I put premieres up. You can type questions then. There's people chatting. Let me know what you think. Tell me other videos that you think that I should review. I'm open to ideas. Coming up on the screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Look at That Vegan Teacher's channel. Have a look around. You know, there's tons of them, over 1,000. Some of them I sing. Some of them I'm just reviewing people who are terrible animal abusers like Gordon Ramsay. Other times I'm looking at different channels like Mr. Beast. I'm looking at PewDiePie. I'm looking at SS Sniper Wolf and Call Me Chris. I'm doing a lot of different reviews and trying to encourage people to be vegan, to stop thinking about themselves. So thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Thanks so much to everybody who's vegan. I'm so proud of you. Bye for now.